So I'm doing really good. I woke up this morning with incredible energy, vigor, and bliss and happiness. Rare, at least recently. And I have been dealing with dark entities on purpose for a good reason. I've been interested in evoking, really more interested in invoking demons, for the purpose of spiritual ascension. And I've read and watched a lot of videos on people that do this, that are really scholarly on the topic and are really masters at it. It's the left-hand path. It's not my path, but I've been basically blocked on my path to being enlightened. And I've been watching the left-hand path basically like as an outsider, not as a practitioner. I felt that it could actually be a useful way, a tool to achieve my goal of just being enlightened, because that's really all I really want to do, is just be enlightened, because that's what we're here for. That's why we're here on planet Earth. That's our really only function. This is a school. We're here because we're ignorant and we don't understand our true divine God nature, which is what we are. And I've experienced pure enlightenment once. It lasted about 90 seconds, and I saw I was ultimate reality. And I know that there is no death. I know that life is eternal, life with a capital L. I know that I am perfect, divine God, love, and that's all there really is. But I've never been able to re-achieve that experience. It was spontaneous. I've tried for many decades, and then I gave up. I tried meditation, tons of meditation, reading, all kinds of different methods. Never been able to get it back. And so I was really interested in the works of E.A. Koetting, Koetting, who is a left-hand practitioner, and there's a lot of problems I have with his path. It's not my path. I think he's completely flawed, and he's obviously never experienced full enlightenment like I have. But that's his path, and everybody's got their own path. There's the left, there's the right, and then there's the middle. And I always thought I was more a middle to a right-hand path, but it wasn't working. And I began to invoke a daemon. I went for Lilith. Why did I pick Lilith? This is her sigil. I had a battery drop out, so I don't know how that's going to flow, but I don't remember what I said last. I actually had been trying to... I went for Lilith because she's actually considered... she's vampiric. She's a succubus. People, you can literally have sex with her. That wasn't my goal, though. And I've read lots of warnings. Be careful with Lilith. She's just like a hot wire energy. She could put you in a mental institute, and it's not everybody can deal with her. I have been trying to evoke her on and off for, actually invoke, probably for, I don't know, a couple months now. And I think she's just the dark side of Kundalini, which Kundalini was what I experienced before I experienced actual pure enlightenment. Kundalini is like it's life force energy. In the physical body, it's experienced as energy moving up from the base of the spine, out the top of your head. And with me, it went from the top of my head and went downwards, and then it was like a circular flow. It's a feminine energy, and I since I have a uber masculine personality, I specifically chose Lilith to counterbalance that aspect of myself. And I had tried to invoke her. There's a difference between evocation and invocation. Evocation is like when the entity is, you're talking to them like they're a separate person. I'm not really interested in evocation because there is an energetic interplay, but it's largely verbal, and I pretty much know everything intellectually anyway, but that doesn't really do anything. Intellect is like, it's just like a little bit of the surface. So I basically went in my bathroom, I turned my vent on, I used a candle, and I was focusing on the flame. Yeah, I had to break, the other battery died too. It's probably Lilith. Yes, they warn you about her. She can really fuck with you. And I was like, I'm really interested though. And I did finally get to invoke her. I'd rather invoke than evoke. Some evokes when they're separate and you're talking to them. It's like another person. But I don't really feel like you can really understand really what their wisdom is unless you merge with them. You could go for full possession. I'm not willing to do that, but I guess there's like a scale. There's like full possession, then there's evocation when they're like a separate person. I would say, this is just my understanding of it, that invocation is like something in between. It's more of an internal experience. And I just started summoning all these dark entities for the purpose of spiritual enlightenment. Because the right-hand path and the middle path just hadn't worked for me for decades. And I figured, hey, I'm doing whatever I'm doing, and it isn't working. And I had experienced Kundalini. Kundalini is a very feminine energy before. And I think Lilith is just a darker side of Kundalini. That's just my sense, intuition. I finally did get a breakthrough, and she wasn't wrathful with me at all. In fact, I feel like I've integrated her. Like, she's like a part of me. She is a part of everyone. See, all these daemons, these archetypes, they're all a part of us. The thing is we repress certain parts, and then we have to bring them out for integration. So I was really attracted to Lilith. They'd say she's the mother of all vampires. She's a succubus. She's got that rap, and she's been very, very nice to me. And I think it's because I went into the relationship with the proper attitude, which was ego destruction. Because when I was enlightened for that brief period of time, what happened was my ego basically collapsed, and then the light of who I actually am was able to shine through, and I understood and was all ultimate reality. So it's the ego that is the block. I don't know if it's necessarily the goal of spiritual enlightenment is destruction of ego, because in this world we need an ego. We have to eat, we have to wipe our butts, we have to, generally most of us have to, go to work. You need an ego for all that shit. But I was studying Ramana Maharshi afterwards, years after I had experienced pure enlightenment. And everything he was saying was, but he's like that all the time. For me it was 90 seconds when I was 21 years old. And he's like, that happened to him when he was like a teenager, and then his whole life he was like that way. And I had always been trying to attain that, and I never could. So I began summoning. I don't know if the ego dies. I think it becomes transparent so that the inner self can flow through the ego. So it's not like it's death of the ego. So I've been summoning, working with the darkest fucking energies I could possibly find, destructive energies, for the purpose of destroying the ego. And I've not had any problems with any of them. In fact, they've been really good to me. And it makes a lot of people go insane. They've worked with me is because I went in there with the right goal, to destroy the ego so that the inner light can shine through. Now, people that have traditionally have experiences with dark energies, they're perceived as dark and dangerous and threatening and maddening because they're attached to their egos and they want to hang on to their egos. But I went into this with the goal of annihilating the ego, or at least making it transparent. So I haven't had any problem with dealing with the dark entities at all. They've been really nice to me, actually. And I've been working with Lilith for the last 3 days, and I wanted to see a real result in my life, and I woke up today and I have not felt this amazing in years. Especially I did drink last night, and normally when I drink I feel like shit the next day, and physically I do, but mentally and spiritually and emotionally I just feel amazing. I feel like these dark energies have been destroying the block between my awareness of my own true self, and it's working. So the left-hand path is I'm not a complete left-hand practitioner. I don't want to do a whole video on why and why not. I think it's a flawed path, but there's no flawed path. All paths eventually do lead back to the source. But I feel that I've integrated elements of the left, and I can't say that I'm any side now. I feel that I'm left and I'm right and I'm middle, and I think that's what's working for me right now, because I am experiencing a real true result. And I'm not only just not depressed, I'm actually flipping happy. I'm not going to say go out and work with dark entities, because if you're attached to your ego and you want to protect it, you're going to get mind raped. They will tear your ass apart. But they do that for a purpose. The dark entities have a purpose. They work towards your ascension. But the way to ascension is to make your ego transparent. And that scares a lot of people because they think they're their egos. They wrongly identify with the egos, and then it's perceived as they're being attacked and assaulted, and that's not what the dark entities do. See, all of the light and the dark are all a part of our ascension. It's like if you're a painter and you use all the colors, you just want to paint with black. No, you could, but you need to integrate all the colors, because all the colors come from white light, and white light is a metaphor for your actual true God nature.